Yes, please. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Excellent connection, it says. So that's good. Are we there now? Maybe it was a connection thing.
Not yet. Well, not on the live tab, anyway.
What is going on?
Twat.
What is going on? So we're live, but no one can see us or hear us.
Live to tape. I believe they call that in the biz.
We really are not showing up, are we? There's no way to get your feed from this dashboard either. Because it generates it and I can't. I'll share it. Oh, there we go. Copied. Let's try that. Hello? Oh, there it is. Right. I will send you this in here. Oh, I can hear myself back. Stop talking, Michael. Mute. There we go. Oh, what was I doing? I was sending you that, wasn't I? So, in there. Boom, bang, pow.
But then...
Oh, and it's made it a link now. It never used to. Click on that and see what you get.
Yeah, as soon as I clicked it, I heard you say bing, bang, pow again. But... So
you need to mute that feed then?
Yeah, it's already muted. I guess it must be because it's unlisted. It's not... Because no one's going to get to it, are they?
But we normally do that though, don't we?
I thought we'd have to... We've been through this before and we have to, like... Don't you have to have it public and then unlisted after? There's like an option for make it unlisted when it's finished. Or it changes on its own or some shit, doesn't it?
Right. I've made it public. Hopefully the same stream is still going. Let's refresh it and see. Yes, it is.
Oh, yep, live. There we go.
Are we on our page as live?
We're on our home page, home tab, yeah.
Right. So you obviously have to make it public now then. Jesus. Why do they change stuff and not like send you an email and say, hiya, we know you do this every month. We're going to change this. Cheers.
Well, we got there in the end.
We got there in the end. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to December Live News, the final one of the year. We're doing it early because I've got a busy month end. There should be 3 of us. We think Scott might be on an 8 o'clock schedule instead of a 7 UK time, so... it's about 37 minutes now, not an hour, but he may well join us at some point. Sparkle, I don't think is going to join us, having not checked WhatsApp for about a month. So there you go. Let's change that to live chat and say hello to Glenn down under. Hello, Glenn down under. Right, I just want to flick over here because I've changed everything about and I want to know how loud I am. Say something random.
5-finger handheld. Glenn says, good day. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
All right.
Right, so the levels are all good. I don't want to close the dashboard because
you're scared.
Things might break. I'm scared of what could happen. The soundboard should also be in this browser and isn't, so let's fix that and see if the soundboard is even plumbed in. We'll find out. Let's try this. So I'm
going to
guessing
say that. That's not on.
I'm saying it's not plugged in. Let's try that one. Oh, that definitely should be coming through there. What the
Pair of
friggity
professionals.
gibbet is happening? Oh, no, that's not the reason. Let's go back there. Let's do that, and let's do that.
It's 3 minutes till showtime.
There you go. So it was just
That's the
of
one.
all the files I could have played, I picked the one that doesn't work. There you go. It's working now. It needed to cache the page. Who knew? Welcome, everybody, to Live News. As I said, I've moved everything around in the studio, so I'm confused by my own doings, and all the buttons are in different places. The cameras are in different places. I've changed some cameras. I've moved some cameras. That one's on a wonk. And I've been playing around with OBS, getting it how it should be. But how it hasn't been for about the last 4 years. So everything is as it should be. I just need to get used to it again. So we will start off with our usual what have we been up to. Not a huge amount. We're doing it early. So there hasn't been a huge amount of time since the last one. Little over a couple of weeks. But as I said, maybe on this stream, maybe on the one that we just deleted. I don't know. But I've got a busy month end. Obviously Christmas. And everything that goes along with that, and lots of family dues, etc. And my eldest daughter is getting married on the 29th of December, so there is lots to do after Christmas and before New Year, and then you've got New Year, so I wanted the show done, out of the way, then I can relax. So movies-wise, not a great deal, although I did watch 8-Bit Christmas this week. We discussed it a bit last month. Indeed, it was the phrase that pays. Scott said he loves it. I thought it was good. I only watched it once last year when it came out. Not watched it since, so I gave it another watch. It is a good film, but I'll maybe mention this when Scott comes on. I don't get how you can like that film and not like Stranger Things, because the similarities are all there. Group of kids running around town, doing various stuff, lots of 80s references, using walkie-talkies, playing old video games, going to skating rinks and all that. It's everything that's in Stranger Things pretty much, but he didn't like Stranger Things, so we shall challenge him on that.
Minus the, monsters.
Minus the monsters, yeah, I suppose, but he likes monsters. I watched a TV series on Netflix called 1899. I wouldn't waste your time. It was all right. It just got really silly and wasn't really worth the payoff at the end. I may also mention this when Scott comes back because it's one of his favourite shows. I watched, finally finished *Halt and Catch Fire*. I started it ages ago, did a couple of seasons and just went back to it, so I've finished that. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. It's not amazing. First season, I think, was the best. I think the second one was a little bit weak. Third was better, fourth was better, but I think the first season is the best one. I suppose it depends also which part of history and computing history you're more into, but finish that. I would recommend it. Not as much as Scott would, though. Games-wise, I've been playing around with... So I have a couple of projects on the go. I mentioned them last month. I was doing a cab build for the Sinden light gun to get some shooter games, and at some point I'm going picking up the parts that I made 4 years ago for the video pinball. Still not got that done, but I finish work tomorrow, so maybe next week I'll get in touch with Craig and go down and get those parts, but I've not space at the moment to build an actual cab for the light gun games, so I've just sort of made a little box with controls on it, 4-way joysticks, 4 buttons, start, select, and all of that. And I will order the light gun once we finish this news. And so then just around that corner is a couch in front of a big flat screen TV. So the box that I've sort of built it all in will sit on top of the sort of back of the couch. You'll stand behind the couch and shoot at the TV kind of thing. So all that's in hand. I've got all the parts here. I've assembled most of them. I just have to wire up an iPack and obviously get the gun. So there's a couple of builds you can do. So you can go, if you go to the Sinden website, you'll find a link to their Discord, I think. And they had a wiki. It went down, but they've built a new one, so that's back. So there's lots of tips on there because a lot of people are using Pi 4s to do this, or some are doing PCs, Windows or Linux, and there's lots of support for each. But I just wanted to get up and running and play about with it. So out there is a Raspberry Pi image called BB9, which is all pre-configured. Obviously, you need to drop the ROMs on yourself. It doesn't come with those, but it comes with all the bezels and the overlays and all that kind of stuff. So when you fire up a game, as long as it's called the right thing and in the right folder, you'll get like a bezel with the whiteboard around for the gun. So that should be pretty much ready to go. So that'll get you up and running. But I'm also going to build a PC image for it as well, because that will give you a lot newer games. Some of the stuff on the Pi can run a bit slowly. I've not noticed that yet. I've been playing through a little bit of it using the mouse. So a PC will get you a lot of the newer stuff, a lot of the Sega stuff, the M2 stuff, and what have you. So I will do that once I've got the Pi up and running, and then at some point build like a proper cab, a stand-up cab. But what I was going to do with that is maybe have a flap at the back that folds down with a projector, so you can project it onto a wall and play it that way. So it will start off as a Pi, and then once the PC's done, I'll put the PC in there and see if that's any better. And that is about me for the month. Other than to say, I'm a little bit chilly in here, because this is, to all intents and purposes, a garage. So I've got a bottle of Bushmills, I've got a bottle of Rochester ginger, and I've got a flask of hot water, and hopefully that will see me through. And I've got a heater blowing on my feet. Over to you, Random.
All right, yeah, as you said, it's not been too long since we last convened. So I've been playing a bit more Conker's Bad Fur Day, carrying on with that, and I played through Uncharted 4 since we last spoke. Finished that up yesterday because it's been on my sort of backlog for ages. I fancied something a bit actiony and easy to just sort of sit back and play through. That was all right. Had some issues with it, but it's decent enough. In terms of your modern sort of tomb raiding style adventure, treasure hunting with a bit of shooting in between kind of thing. And then I was gonna crack on, I think, next with Cyberpunk is going to be my sort of over Christmas RPG this year, but I'm thinking of starting Spy Fiction on the PS2 properly at last, which I've had also on my backlog for a long time. Which, if anyone doesn't know, is a kind of low budget, I suppose, kind of B game sort of budget, Metal Gear Solid type clone, done by Swery 65. So it's not like one of his wackiest, weirdest games, but it's got some interesting ideas, I think. Although, yeah, it's certainly not as polished in terms of the actual stealth action and things. TV wise, I suppose this also fits into films. Got to the end of season 5 of X-Files, so watched the first film yesterday and today. Did it in 2 parts, but I've seen it no end of times and still remembered a lot of it. But yeah, still fairly enjoyable film. I don't know whether it's as enjoyable if you haven't sort of watched everything up to it. And I guess it kind of, it still sort of must work fairly standalone. But yeah, looking forward to then cracking on with season 6 of that. We started a Korean Netflix program called Bad and Crazy. It's about a Korean cop with a split personality, which was sort of started off fairly sort of middle of the road, and then there was an episode about 3 episodes in where just all the characters and everything that was going on was very much like the sort of goings on from the Yakuza games. Just pretty good fun for someone like me who's played through all of those. Seeing that sort of quite high energy stuff going on and big personalities. So that's been quite fun. And then the other film was I don't know if you've seen, there's a Norwegian film called Troll that went onto Netflix, which is kind of like a Norwegian Godzilla film, essentially. And that was quite enjoyable. You know, it's not amazing, but decent enough.
I did see it. I get emails when things go onto Netflix and stuff. I did see it. Not watched it. I thought I'd give it a miss, but
gentlemen,
yeah, and I was there he is.
There
There's
he
Scott.
is.
I was just about to say, yeah, and I was banking on Scott turning up because yesterday was work.
it was a
work-
close one. I got off
it was
work,
that's
and
good.
well, I was supposed to be back here about an hour ago. We are having a wicked, massive fucking rainstorm here, right? Crashes all over the place. So I was on my fucking bike, and it was so wet. I literally, I don't normally text and ride a motorcycle. I do it. I do, but not every day. And it gets incrementally worse when you're trying to text when your gloves are soaked through and it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And so you're trying to peel off your gloves with one hand. And if you've ever used a phone with standing water at 80 miles an hour in the rain, it doesn't work so well. But I was trying to text you motherfuckers, and thanks for texting me, by the way, and asking if I was alive. I appreciate that. But
we had our own issues going on. Not
Yeah.
as deadly as yours. They were internet related, but
dude, I was lane splitting between 18 wheelers and shit, just hauling ass. And there's dude fucking crashes. I come home. I am soaked right now. I shucked off my wet weather gear and my helmet, and I am fucking. I got a space heater I just turned on to my feet. So, hey, how's the news?
Well,
we've not actually
you've not missed
started it
very
yet.
much of it.
Oh, good.
So we had our Christmas lunch yesterday for work, and it was my last day of work as well. And it wasn't like drinking or anything, but it was just spending all afternoon sort of having to raise my voice to talk to anyone in a noisy restaurant. I might get towards the middle of this and start to lose my voice a bit. So yeah, I was hoping that Scott and Mike would do a lot of the heavy lifting. But
I just did that this morning at the gym. No, my deadlift
Who's
numbers
Jim?
are going up nicely. So, I tell you what, man, I got a good trainer. KCPT Fitness, fucking guy, tremendous job, my trainer. But yeah, my deadlift numbers, my squats, everything is just, the numbers are soaring, man. I couldn't be happier. So, yeah, I gotta tell you, man, I'm glad you guys are sitting here like, oh, hope Scott doesn't turn up too soon and find out what a disarray things are, because I have my own disarray.
Yeah. So YouTube changed a bunch of things without telling us. So that was good. But we figured it out. We're clever people.
we got there.
And here we
got
are.
there.
Yeah.
Mike, I love that studio. When did you build all that?
I've been tooling around with it this week. So as we go through, I will show you some of the features. Here's one of them. If I can click on the right window. Everything's confusing because it's all new. I've changed it. So this show is brought to you by beer, Adie's favourite drink. Look at that. So I've added some more images to the window up there. There's
He likes
Adie
to have it
enjoying a
with-
delicious beer.
He likes to have it standing outside the closed steak place. He doesn't have a steak yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got, what's that one? Carry on. We've got some chameleon stuff. We've got Mr. Kennedy there, animated, holding his new cartridge. All their own
Holy
work.
cunt.
And we've also got a surf dog. So that's good.
That was Scott on his way home from work tonight.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a slight resemblance.
And then AD and me are going into scamming people. So this is my his latest venture for me, apparently. I think he's been using AI to generate images. So there's my new scam.
So one of my friends called me up and we're talking, and he tells me his cousin got scammed. And I said, well, how? And he said, yeah, this guy on Facebook had like all these nice cars on his page and everything. And, he said if, he sends them $300, he'd turn around into 1,000 in like 2 weeks to crypto. And I said, and your cousin actually sent him $300. He goes, yeah. Now he and his cousin live like really on the same property. And they're often out in the garage working on cars also. I said, hey, is your cousin there? And he goes, yeah. I said, put him on. He puts him on. I said, hey, you are the stupidest motherfucker I know. Hey, can I borrow $300?
So if you have video at some point, Scott, it will come into the feed.
I have two choices. Either like sit here in front of this space heater and power through it, or like go take a shower and dry off and reconvene in an hour.
Well, your image is there anyway. So I've changed all that stuff as well.
It's better than the one I'm presenting right now in person.
Yeah.
Hey,
so I've upped our OBS game. So just before we do, so we've just finished what we've been up to this month. I know last month we mentioned 8-Bit Christmas, and you were singing its praises. I watched it again this week. And briefly, because the listeners have already heard this, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great, but my question was:
here's the just a couple observations. Can you imagine today, with the woke agenda driving movies as it does, the insertion of bullshit narratives and the things that they don't belong into, like Christmas stuff? Can you believe that thing got past the censors that actually made just a Christmas movie?
I didn't spot any wokeness, I'll be honest.
No, it's just fucking Christmas.
Yeah, but what I didn't understand was how you can like that or love it. I think you said last month it was your favourite Christmas movie, but not like Stranger Things, because there are lots and lots of parallels. Group of kids in the 80s running around town, going to the skating rink, playing games, using walkie-talkies, while they're riding the bikes around and all that shit. It's as Random said, Stranger Things without all the monsters. So,
because let's say that me, you, and Random got together and engaged in the same behavior, they just call us sex pests. Not because we're all doing the same thing doesn't mean the same outcome. Now, it all comes down to like the writing. I thought I'd like Stranger Things. I was either bored to death or like, all right, that's the worst special effects I've ever seen. And then it just didn't make sense. It was just not good and effective writing. This one is a very effective premise. It's a Christmas story. Well executed. Now, I did watch the Christmas Story, Christmas 2 or whatever. What a turd. I was so disappointed that that's what you did. You had all those years and that's what you did. So, not good.
Yeah, I wasn't mad on the first one. We watched the first one last year. Paula hated it, so we turned it off halfway through, and I went back and finished it off later. I think it's
just like sex.
Yeah. Couldn't get through it all in one go. So
turn off lights, finish it up later.
So I think it's a very American thing to like a Christmas story. I don't think it's aged well, and I don't think it's a great movie.
Really, to me, it's kind of like Gremlins. It's just a great piece of its time that aged wonderfully. So, but the 8-Bit Christmas, what I liked about it was, and maybe this is a uniquely American experience too. I don't know. But everything in that movie, everything about the quest for the Nintendo, the Boy Scouts doing the door-to-door, calendar sales to raise money for the Boy Scout troop. And then the winner gets, a Nintendo as the main prize. I can still, in my mind, see those paper pulp flyers that they sent out in the Scout magazine that, yes, you would do. These were all such things that really, I think in many ways, had almost been forgotten about. But it was just so faithful to the experience. And like you wanted that from, you know, it to me, it's a generation shift off. This movie is, well, not generation, but just age group. For me, 8-Bit Christmas was more of like my little brother, like, you know, like 4 or 5 years younger than me. But for me, it was more the Atari. Of course, yeah, I wanted a Nintendo, and then it was still a thing, but it's a little different like in late junior high. But as far as the Atari era, yeah, I mean, you know, you didn't have the ability to get out there and get a job because you were too young. So just any kind of hustler or anything to get a hold of that Atari, you know, you'd ask your parents, and you thought, okay, this is a lock. And they're like, well, yeah, we looked at that video game toy and it was $500. We thought it was 30. It's like, I never said it was 30. You know, and it's like, so what? It's not happening. I mean, you know, what are we getting? Yeah, you know, and that it was so faithful to that experience. I thought it was fantastic, but I think our listeners should definitely give it a look.
And as AD mentions in chat there, I discussed Halt and Catch Fire while you weren't here. He's dobbing me in. I know you love it. It's one of your favourites. So I started it a long time ago. I did a couple of seasons, went back and finished it off fairly recently. I think it was good. I don't think it was great. I think season 1 was probably the strongest. I really enjoyed that. I thought 2 was quite weak with the whole gaming side of it and everything. 3, I think, was better. 4, I think, was better again. But season 1, I think, was the best one of the 4. I did enjoy the whole thing, though.
You know, one thing that I took away from Halt and Catch Fire, and first of all, you know, the whole Cardiff Electric, all of that centered around what was called the Silicon Prairie, right? You had Silicon Valley out in California, true, but that's not where a lot of the manufacturing, production, and other things took place in terms of like, you know, home computer stuff. A lot of that was like, you know, Texas, Gateway 2000 was out like somewhere in St. Louis, you know, Missouri. And the thing that because I actually was rewatching it recently, and the thing that kind of came to mind that I thought was interesting is what America and UK had in common is that the home computer revolution, and I get that a lot of this was driven by price points of meeting that low dollar, you know, goal, but a lot of it was not a serious effort and was kind of I wouldn't want to say cottage industry because there were major companies like Commodore and, you know, freaking the Spectrum manufacturer and all that. But these were not, they didn't have large teams of engineers. They didn't, I don't want to be insulting to anybody that designed our amazing computers, but these weren't the top shelf engineers. This was not a serious effort. In that, like, it was often like you would think something like the Commodore 64 would have had this massive roadmap, product development. No, it was a demo of a single chip that the CEO walks in and he's utterly, you know, pretty much disengaged from anything other than wiggling out another dollar. And he looks down and says, oh, yeah, ship that. And then they have to bullshit something together in days. I mean, that should not have been the birth of the Commodore 64. And the same thing, like in England, they had this, you know, quest to get this, you know, affordable back alley computer out that and into the schools. We kind of did a little better on that in the US in that, like, you know, we had the Apple IIs that were a little better engineered, a little better thought of, but still both in the US, the UK, and also the same story is true in Germany and to some extent Italy, although already burned up oceans of government tax dollars. But in all these cases, the home computer revolution wasn't born as this massive deliberate effort of, you know, properly engineered machines with, you know, deliberately wringing out the, you know, the best way to build one for the money. It was kind of in each case a team of, you know, plucky engineers who, you know, didn't have like a deliberate product roadmap, who didn't have all these things that should have come with it. And they still built some pretty cool stuff. But I wonder how many generations ahead we would be if they had started off, if they had been given proper resources, larger teams, product roadmaps. You know, it could have been a very different thing if home computers had been treated like, you know, let's say, honest to God, the development of a washer and dryer, which has more industrial design, you know, mechanical engineers, you know, more deliberate thought put into it than did the home computers. I just think that was to me is one of the takeaways of how haphazardly a lot of the evolution was. But love that series. Thought it was great. Thought all the actors and actresses in it did a tremendous job.
So I'm hearing Scott back. Random, say something.
Hello.
Seems like I'm hearing everyone back through this computer, which I don't normally do. So I'm going
Change
to
backgrounds.
I'm going to mute this and see if everything goes off. Come on, mute. Maybe I.
Hey, while you do that, I'm going to grab another hot coffee. Just give me 1 sec.
Okay. Can you hear me on the stream, or has that killed the volume on the stream? Hello. Audition is still seeing all of that. So
I
that,
can still hear you.
on the stream, yeah.
Well, yeah.
YouTubers, can you hear me in the stream still? Can hear you,
I've
says
just
Glenn
turned
Minette down
YouTube
under.
on, and it
So,
sounds all right. Yeah.
right, so I think I have just killed the speaker rather than all the other audio. So that's good. Maybe that it's done it all the time. I just noticed it when Scott was talking. Maybe it does it all the time, but because I've got my headphones on, I don't hear it back. But I have been messing around with everything in this room, so that could well explain it. So it's probably time to get on with some news. Let me put my camera back on now I've finished messing about. We could go to that one. Hello, everyone. There I am in high res. This show brought to you by Rochester Ginger. You ever tried it, Random? I imagine you'd like it.
No, I probably would like it. I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's non-alcoholic. It goes great with alcohol, though, or in a hot drink.
Yeah, I used to drink a lot of ginger ale and ginger beer, but I haven't for a while now.
You are a ginger
Mike,
beer.
what is that you're
Hey.
having there?
What?
All right, time to get on with
What is
some
that you're
new-
sipping on there, Mike?
Oh, that is a mix of Bushmills Irish whiskey, Rochester ginger, which is a non-alcoholic ginger drink, great mixer, and some hot water because it's freezing in here. Literally, I got in the car this morning, it was -9. I've never seen that in this country.
Why are you broadcasting from the car?
I'm not. This
That's
is
where
the
he lives
warmest
now.
studio in the world.
You thought you'd try the SoCal lifestyle.
Why don't you
Yeah.
turn on the heat in your house? I mean,
Because there's no heating in here, it is essentially a garage that's been painted. But I mean, I've got carpet and everything, and I've insulated the front garage door. But
now all you have to do is put something. That makes
it's a seasonal room. It's hot in summer and cold in winter. But I have got a blow heater by my feet, so when I do get cold, I'll just
I
turn
do
that
too
on.
because I'm fucking freezing.
So, time for some news in then.
Well, one thing real quick, Mike.
Go.
Did you get a chance to talk to Butler yet?
I
About any of the Polish
haven't.
Expos?
I
Okay.
imagine I will do tomorrow because he's doing Dinosaur Pie early. So I'm expecting that tomorrow. So I'll likely chat with him during the day tomorrow.
Good, yeah. But before the whole COVID crap shut down all the expos, we were talking about hitting up some of those Polish expos, and I assume by now they're going to be back in full swing. And I'd like to see that. I mean, I was looking when he was telling us about it. I was looking at some of the pictures and all, and it seems honestly almost indistinguishable from some of the German expos. So I think that'd be a hell of a thing to see.
Yeah. We did indeed talk about going over there, and I'd like to do it. Very heavy spectrum focus from what I recall him saying, but yeah, definitely worth a look. And we've not done a trip for a while, so yeah.
Yep.
I'll have
time
to get a
do that.
passport, though. I've still not got one.
Well, Well, no. Do you need one for EU?
Yeah, well,
Yes,
you
very
would
much so
anyway,
now.
and we're not in the EU anymore anyway.
Well, I don't know how that fell. Like, whether or not they just said, all right, look,
No,
UK,
you still
whatever.
needed a passport. And in fact, I was talking to somebody about this. I can't remember who it was now. But whether I could, fly to Glasgow or something or, wherever without a passport. And apparently, no. That's the form of ID they accept. Even though I've got, other photo IDs, if you haven't got a passport, you can't fly domestically either.
Really?
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, you really want to fuck them up? Go to the airport and show them a pilot's license. They don't know what the fuck to do about it. One of my joys in life is fucking with the TSA. They're such human garbage. And one of the ways I tend to fuck with them is I'll thank them for their service. And then, so about like half an hour later, I'm sitting on the plane and they look, hey, wait a minute. That wasn't a compliment.
Why, I oughta.
If I graduated high school, I'd be upset. But yeah, I like fucking with them. But every now and then I'll pull out my pilot's ID and they're like, oh, that's a compliant ID. I'm like, then how did the motherfucker driving the plane get on? I mean, you know. But yeah, you know, I've got US, EU passports. I'm all set. So love. I don't know why, man. Poland's always, the last time I saw Poland, it was kind of a hot mess. And apparently they have really gotten things together and are kind of almost up to where Germany was. And maybe since Germany's kind of fallen off its game, I've always wanted to go and visit. We got to get Kaminsky, first of all, to, you know, reply to anything, and then get him. I figure if we start now, he might actually be ready to go to Poland in the summer. So,
you know, you say that, but maybe his is the only iPhone in the world that doesn't do WhatsApp notifications.
Could be. So, hey, I'm all down. I definitely want to see Poland. But you know, the other stuff I'm absolutely down for. If you guys want to roll across the border for a couple days, you know, let me know.
All
it's
right,
not for everybody.
News time then. The first one came from random, so I'll let him do that.
It did. All right. Yep.
Go on.
So
you might as well do it now then.
Yeah.
Hurry up, David! Everyone's waiting on you.
Oh, bastards. So one of the writers for the Junkyard was doing something for his personal blog, in sort of looking
Is this
up
the Dreamcast Junkyard?
It is the Dreamcast Junkyard.
I like those guys.
Yeah, and he was investigating a band that had sort of split up a while ago, and in doing so, he found out that they seem to have a Dreamcast on stage, and like found a quote of with them talking on YouTube, like from a long time ago, and they were saying, yeah, that we used to take a Dreamcast or a PlayStation and a CRT and then play some of the backing music off that, and it became kind of a gimmick. So then he got in touch with them and did an interview with them for the Dreamcast Junkyard, and I focused on, you know, the whys and how that came to be, and they even managed to dig out some photos of them using it on stage and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting little insight into a small band that, well, I don't know how small they were, but yeah, a band fairly obscure, I think. But yeah, it used to take a Dreamcast on stage to be essentially the drummer of the band. Maybe we should replace AD with
one of those teddy bears that plays a banjo.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh, trust me, I've already forgotten about 80. Adorable little fellow playing a banjo.
So we
Who
have
needs
not.
somebody who looks like a used car salesman when you got a banjo playing bear?
We haven't announced a phrase that pays or the prizes, so we'll give away a couple of prizes at least tonight. If you go to retrogamingroundup.com/prizes, you will see what's available, and I can show you them on the stream. Look at that! Wow! And I can even scroll down it and show you further down. So we have a prize alarm, and when you hear that prize alarm, you type in the YouTube chat the phrase that pays. The phrase that pays this month will be Merry Christmas, everybody. So when you hear this sound, anytime after that one, throughout the broadcast, you can type in Merry Christmas, everybody, and win yourself a prize. To be found, as I said, at retrogamingroundup.com/prizes. So, Next news item. Jerry Lawson, who passed away a good time ago,
Yeah.
was memorialized on Google. They did a thing where you could go on and play some mini games on Google. And I didn't play around with it. I know a lot of people did. And I think Gaming Jay, who has been on the show, he's doing the 1001 games to play before you die. He's doing the playthrough of those. He did a video where he went through and played quite a few of them. So I don't know if it's still live. Is it still live? But if you missed it, go and watch Gaming Jay's video on it, and you can see what all of y'all missed.
I feel like someone must archive all of the Google Doodles, but I don't know.
Like GeoCities. I bet someone's got them all downloaded.
Yeah, somebody's got everything on GeoCities on a CD somewhere.
Yeah. All right, next up. This one came from me, and this is an indie game available for the C64 called Santa's Workout 2. And it's on Indie Retro News. So I grabbed the game and played it and played it and played it. I really enjoyed it. So the gameplay is a little like Sukaban. Sukaban, where you have to push boxes around a maze and get them all in the right position. But you have to do it a certain way, otherwise boxes get stuck in corners and things like that. So it's that basic gameplay, but you're shoving around objects, you shove in rocks, but if you go over the ice, you'll put a hole in the ice, and it if it hits a skiddy patch, it will keep going till it hits a wall, that kind of thing. And you've got to go around the maze. They're all the ones I got up to anyway, a single screen mazes, and you've got to find the key and then open the door and exit and go to the next one. The soundtrack on it is really good. Graphics are good. The gameplay is great. I do like Sokoban anyway. But the soundtrack for an indie game, just fantastic. Definitely worth you playing. Santa's Workout 2 from... Who was the company who did it? I've not heard of them before, but it's not their first game. Something Project something.
At the top,
Vector 5 Games.
Vector 5 Games.
Vector 5 Games, that's the one. So, yeah.
Is that what you call your underwear drawer, Mike? The skitty patch?
A skitty patch, yeah. Several of them in there. To be avoided.
All right, let's
so I've got the next one in again, and this was a selection of I've said cheesy and sexy vintage ads for arcade games from the 70s and 80s. And it's a selection of the arcade game flyers, some of which, if you're like me, you'll know fairly well, like Haunted Castle and Missing in Action and Jungle King. But there's a few in there that I haven't seen. Obviously, Computer Space, we've all probably seen that flyer, but there's a bunch of weird and wonderful. Some sort of real photographic, some that just have no bearing of any resemblance to why they're there with the arcade cabinet. But yeah, worth having a little scroll through when you got a few moments.
And got one here from Spinal Cord labeled Spam, Duck Hunt C64. And he says, look, Duck Hunt on the C64. Supports light gun, mouse, or joystick. Looks, plays, and sounds just like the NES version, but on UC64. And yeah, it kind of does. I'm gonna have to leave this up so I can download it and save it into the archive, because that's pretty cool. I mean, that's the thing, that's Nintendo, NES, and the C64 were so comparable in graphic abilities and like game speed. That's why your Great Gianna is so comparable to Mario. But of course, you had that much more storage capacity capability of the Commodore 64. So I always love to see crossover games that appear on one system or the other from the other one, just to see how they panned out if they've been made.
So next one up, if I put myself back on camera again. I'm messing about with things during the show, so I may disappear from view. Don't worry, I will be back, and I'm still sat here or stood here, depending what I'm doing. This one,
He's still standing, better than he ever. He's still standing.
yeah. So this one came via Spooky Pinball, and they have announced a new game, Scooby-Doo, the pinball. And when I sent this in first, there was only like a very brief video. If you go on their YouTube channel, there's some more videos now of more gameplay. But I really do like the look of this. I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan anyway. I think it's a great show. I used to always watch it as a kid, but they've really captured some of like the key elements that you remember, like, you know, from the opening themes. And I know they changed it with different seasons, but you remember where they've got like the diver in the diver's helmet, and they've got Scooby-Doo coming up out of the barrel. They've captured all of those kind of things in their toys on the playfield. Obviously, the mystery machine's in there. There's lots of... Let me just mute that. Mute.
Whoa.
There you go.
Those are the bats. That's the intro Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah. So this video here doesn't have them, but...
It's a good job you didn't go for the Velma episodes that are on Pornhub just then.
That's not a bad show either. But yeah, they seem to have captured all the sort of real memorable parts of Scooby-Doo. So some great gameplay that seems to be on the machine. So yeah, check that out. I am looking forward to that one.
Well, if you remember when we were talking with 80, and you know, he graciously, you know, said he would do the theme song for CG Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said, "What are you guys thinking?" And look, dude, somebody that can't play one note on a guitar, and I don't want to tell somebody how to do their job. I just said, dude, what I'm hearing in my head is like a Scooby-Doo chase scene song, kind of meets Buckner and Garcia. And 80 goes in there, rattles the pots and pans and some keyboards around, and you know, whatever. And it comes out with a Scooby-Doo chase song. I mean, it was fucking amazing. But I always loved the music in Scooby-Doo and the whole thing, you know, big fan of that. I can't wait to see what they do with this pinball. See, this is another one that I will absolutely play. I just don't know if I'd buy one because I'm a Scooby-Doo fan, but it's not like, I don't know, man. Pinball is a very specific thing for me. Either it leaps out or it doesn't. But it's one that I think I would absolutely line up to play.
Yeah, definitely. Something I'm not sure I'd line up to watch is from David Gyrick, Toe Jam and Earl, the movie. Coming you...
I don't
Seems
know.
a very odd choice, this.
Yeah, coming to you from Amazon, who I read today, I didn't send it in, but I read today are doing the next Tomb Raider game. Amazon Games are doing that. So yeah, this is written by the same guys who did Hotel Transylvania 4, which is another one I've not watched. So yeah, it seems a very odd premise. I mean, it could be funny, it could be slightly amusing, but of all the video games, Toe Jam and Earl? I don't know.
You know, here's the thing. I know it was a big hit at the time. It's not one that's stuck there in pop culture, like, you know, sticking Kubert into the background of something, instant recognition. If you show, I think most people Toe Jam and Earl, there's going to be a lot that don't recognize it, that would recognize other figures. However, consider this. They get, who am I thinking of for actors? Like, probably not even people I like, but like, I don't know, Seth Rogen and the guy that played Kamal and the ones that went to White Castle. What am I thinking of?
No.
Harold and Kumar. You know, like get and Tommy Chong's got to make an appearance, and you do it as stoners.
I think you'd have to be a stoner to watch it. I think part of the fun would be that.
Yeah.
But I think if done as a stoner comedy, I think they could get something out of this.
Yeah, it'll be a wait and see for me. I think that one just seems a very odd choice. I'm not saying it won't be good or can't be good. It's just a very odd choice out of all the video games.
It's a very odd choice, but I see a path for it being good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like Sega are throwing a load of shit out there because, you know, there was the Comic Zone was the other one recently, wasn't it, that came up? And, well, you know, I guess there's elements of that, yeah, you could do something with it. But again, it seems like a weird IP to...
It does, but yeah, it seems a very weird one because, I mean, the game was okay, you know, publicity-wise and sales-wise, but there are bigger video games out there. But look at all the DC movies and the Marvel movies you're getting now. You know, they're going down the comic route.
Why do Comic Zone when there's a million other like comics, you know, with beating?
It's called Bandwagon and Jumping On.
Yeah. Cash grab. Those two words do anything for you.
Yeah.
So I got one here from it's a certain Dave Lanky. And Emulation Holy Grail. I have been intrigued that there's a Jaguar content in the Atari 50 given the deficiencies that there have been with Jag emulation over the years. True. Now it seems with some thanks to the folks at Digital Eclipse, Rich Whitehouse has released Big PEMU, which is presumably the basis of the Atari 50 emulator. So that everyone can now enjoy what he claims is 100% cartridge compatibility, low system requirements, and generally pretty accurate emulation, given that it's 1.0 release, he plans to keep working on it. So, and of course, is a link to richwhitehouse.com/Jaguar. Now, I broke down. I really don't like digital-only content. I really don't like supporting that stuff. I have bought precious few things over the years. Literally probably 3 things. And I broke down and got the Atari 50. And based on just the deluge of positive things said about it. And it's great. I mean, that they put a lot of effort in there. It was I binge went through the whole thing. Started with the first interviews, and you know what was amazing is seeing Ted Dabney actually get credit side by side. They couldn't, you know, this if I'll say it, if we hadn't done what we did and we hadn't gotten that out there and changed the narrative by, you know, presenting Ted Dabney's side of the story, we wouldn't have had, you know, that would have been the book of Nolan. And it would have been Nolan invented video games and that's it. And just to see Ted getting his righteous, you know, recognition was fantastic. But what a great thing. The interviews were awesome. The way they integrated the games, the selection of games was awesome. And the first thing I thought was, oh yeah, someone's going to disassemble that and rip out every emulator. And I bet there's some gold in there. And look, here it is. Fantastic stuff. So check it out.
So the big thing to come out of that was the Atari emulator, the Jag emulator, I should say.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that was something I forgot that, yeah, in what we've been up to since the last one is, yeah, I spent one of our multiplayer Thursday nights, rather than actually playing anything with anyone, I sat there in the party chat, but just going through like almost every...
I'm playing my own games, you lot can fuck off.
Yeah.
I go to multiplayer night and play with myself. That sounds like such a Goobert thing.
Remembered that most of them were pretty dire though, and I was like, hang on, we must have done a top 10 Jaguar games by now. And then yeah, found it on the website, and it's like, oh yeah, we called it top 10 best/worst because we were sort of running out of any good games.
I read it wrong and I picked all the worst, and I was going through my picks, and they're like, Mike, why are you picking this? It's awful. And I'm like, because we're doing the worst. No, we're not. So we renamed it. Mid-production.
So yeah, if any listeners have any recommendations for ones that I should actually stick with and play some more, yeah, I'd like to hear it, because beyond Tempest, Raiden, Power Drive Rally, I think they're sort of my main 3 that I'd really spend any time with. I'm a bit annoyed that I sold them, but then I did make a lot of money off selling them when I did. So, yeah. And now I can play them just as well. So, finally. Should work well on the Steam Deck as well. I've not put it on there yet, but...
Yeah. I was going to say something then, and I completely forgot. So I won't bother saying it.
While you're rebooting, some of the youngins I work around have picked up some of those Steam Decks. And I got to ask one of the guys which one it is he got. I got to say, the build quality, the screen quality, all of it, pretty impressive. And I'm not doing Steam. It's not happening. But I would kind of like to see, and I'm sure it's already been done. It's probably all over YouTube. I just haven't looked yet. What people are doing, loading like just Linux on one of these and putting on, their own. I don't know how much mass storage there is or expandable, different ones. But it seems like it's at least worthy of investigation to see what could be done with this. So I'll probably have a stroll through YouTube and see what people are already doing. Because it's
or you could just
hardware.
ask Random because he's already done it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. I have no doubt. Yeah. But until, it's the kind of thing that when you see one in person, you're like, that is some cool hardware. I bet, and like I said, it's, I'm sure people are way ahead of the curve on that. But it's, if you're into Steam, and he was sitting there playing, he was playing Fallout 3 and another pretty modern game, and it seemed to do equally good on all of them. So yeah, cool looking hardware, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's the initial experiences. They've made it so that it makes playing stuff on Steam very easy, and they hope to be like as much as like a Nintendo Switch, but it's just running on top of Arch Linux. It's got you can just go to the power menu and drop straight into a desktop. You can plug it into a USB C dock and then get HDMI out to a monitor. And you can basically just do anything that you can do on a Linux PC on it. And so then I've got the GOG launcher and the Epic Games launcher stuff on there as well, but then also just a bunch of weird shit that I've put, Linux sort of shit that I've put on there. And then people have got like, whole automatic deployment of Emulation Station scripted, really easy to set all that up.
See, that's probably honestly what I would do is
yeah, and it plays,
you never
like
need to play a Steam game.
PlayStation 2, Wii U, yeah, and plays great. The base model is, and so the base model is 64 gig, but they've all got a short NVMe socket on them, so you can user upgrade them if you wish.
So if I want to throw on a terabyte and carry everything.
Terabytes. Well, no, one company has just recently announced a terabyte drive in that form factor, but previously 512 was sort of the largest you were going to find. But you've also got a micro SD slot, and they've tweaked the Linux kernel to basically the micro SD is nearly as fast as an NVMe SSD. So you can put, whatever size SD card you want in it as well. And with the chunks of data
we're loading, I mean, major modern AAA titles, it may be an impact. But if you're loading up,
PS2 ROMs, shit like that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, SD is so good now. Like with my drones, I can blast. I got one that records like an 8K, and I can take ginormous. I mean, Dave, you work with video shit that probably it makes my drone shit look pretty laughable, And I can dump like what to me is like say 128 gig of data. I can dump that off the SD card onto my NAS with shocking rapidity. I mean, it's pretty cool. So SD would not, I think, disappoint for that. So
yeah, and like I say, like the SD stuff's fine, absolutely fine for emulation. So
any I don't mean to drag out this, repurpose the news into the whole tech discussion of Steam Deck.
That's fine.
Is it are there any hooks, like does it just let you do all this, or does it handicap you in any way? Like, is there
No,
any
it just lets you do
is
it.
it tied to the
They-
mothership in any way?
No, they even let you install Windows on it if you want, and they provide all the specialist drivers for the hardware if if you really wanted to do that. But yeah, they're completely open with it.
So I can
So-
drop on, Linux, or I can drop on Emulation Station. I can load up every emulator ever, set everything up, and there's no strings home to the mothership.
Nope.
I've
Do what you want with it. It's basically you own the device.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
No to Apple.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I gave you money.
'Cause-
You gave me hardware. We're not in a relationship.
Yeah.
So they've done deals with iFixit. So there's full tear down instructions, spare parts you can buy, replacement parts. People have been making Hall Effect upgraded joysticks, modules, and things. So there's basically there's no problem with just replacing all bits like that. It's a pretty decent little system.
So the advantage of the top model is the screen. I think the lower two have the same screen. The top model has a better screen, but you can even upgrade the other two to the same screen if you wanted to.
It's
Why
not the
bother?
screen that's any different. It's just the coating on the glass. It's got an anti-glare coating on it. So if you're not going to play it outdoors, probably doesn't make that much difference.
Yeah. And you can consoleize it as well. You can put it in a dock, plug a USB controller if you want, and use it as a console if you really wanted to.
I think I'll just have to grab one then,
Yeah.
based on your good report.
Mm-hmm. That's what I intend to do as well. So, one here. Oh my word. Did you hear that? So David Gyrick sent us one here. We mentioned this maybe a couple of months ago. There was a photo of it sneaked out. We didn't know if it was real or, a 3D render. But Zuiki are going to start taking pre-orders for the X68000 Mini. So it's pretty much the same picture, I think, that we did see leaks out. So there are some great games on this. I've got this up and running in Emulation Station, as we were just mentioning. So it does have some good games, obviously. Knowing Japanese would help, but not necessarily. There are, translations for a lot of games, and some of them you can figure your way through the menus to the actual game. But
I mean,
this
who
thing
knew
is
that the
coming.
schoolgirl in the miniskirt spanking her ass was where you actually went to change the audio settings?
Yeah. So we have a winner, and it is Stone Cold Alan, who said, "Merry Christmas, everyone." So well done to Stone Cold Alan. So take yourself off to retrogamingroundup.com/prizes. Pick one of the prizes and post in chat which one you've picked, and I shall remove it from the prize board. So well done, Alan. Not a name I recall seeing before. I don't know if you've
Merry
been there
Christmas and
before,
congrats.
but not a bad debut.
Beginner's luck.
Yeah.
Just come in from somewhere else to steal all our prizes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's the one I had pulled up too. I tell you, I really like the look of this thing. I like these minis, but I gotta tell you, the way in my heart is to make the maxi version. I mean, I got the Amiga Mini, of course. I wasn't gonna wait or risk supply chains, whatever. But it's cool. I mean, believe me, I'm using the piss out of it. But I still have my main Amiga set up. The C64 from retrocomputer.biz, that replaced my Commodore for daily driver use. I still have literally 2 Commodore 64s in the room connected. But as far as just wear and tear and power on time, I've used the C64, and it integrates well into my whole retro computer stack and all. It's great. I can't wait to get the Amiga Maxi. I hope to God that's in production. But when I look at this, X68K Mini, it's like, yeah, all right, but for, a couple bucks more, you get the Maxi. I know it's the same board and the same case, but man, it's pretty cool to have that full-size case. So I don't know. I hope they do more of these.
Yeah, me too. So he has chosen, Stone Cold Alan has chosen Grand Thieves and Tomb Raiders. I believe that's one of yours, Random.
That is one of mine.
So drop me an email, ukmike@retrogamинgroundup.com, with your address. I've got a note of your prize, so just your address. Bearing in mind the postal strikes, it may get there before Christmas. It may
I was going to
not.
say I'm behind on sending out the last month's stuff, but that's because I'm going to blame the postal strikes.
Yeah.
And not wanting to get it mixed up in all the Christmas backlogs.
And not being asked trudging through the snow on those slippery hills you live on.
Well, yeah. I nearly went arse over tit 3 times today, out with the dog.
Wow, what a death trap.
Yeah.
Got one here from David Gyrich, and I look forward to checking this one out. It's on time extension. He says, great interview from a legendary figure. And it's Tom Kalinske. Now, I know you're saying, who the hell is Tom Kalinske? Well, they tell you in line 1. He was CEO and president of Sega America from 9 to 96. Well, isn't that a really cool time in Sega's history? It's when they pretty much dominated all video games. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give this a absolute listen. So they have it here in text form. I'm guessing there's audio interview maybe, but whether it's a read through or whether it's an audio, man, what a great era in gaming. And I can't wait to check out that interview.
So Tom Kalinske was in a documentary I watched, and there were that many out there gaming-wise. I can't remember which one, but I think it was on something mainstream. It might have been Netflix. Was it called High Score, or was it a different one? Anyway, he is in it quite a bit because he goes over to Japan, and the Japanese are like, no, we know video games, don't worry about this. And he's saying like, no, literally, listen to me, we're going to dominate. He got his way. So he does play a great part in that documentary and in the history of the industry. So yeah, I will check out that interview as well. And just going back to chat, Chris says, not sure if you have used Pi on a Pi 400, but it's brilliant. Yeah. I have indeed. I'm looking at my Pi 400 now, sat beneath the monitor in front of me. So yes, I have, and it is great.
Well, I tell you what, the thing about the Pi is you can very quickly put together a base bone stock spec A500 disc only, or other than throwing in a video toaster, you can build the most badass Amiga there ever was. I've actually got and it was such a complex 3D print. I didn't even bother doing it myself, given the hassles I could see in this thing. I bought it from a dude. I think he's actually in your town there, Random. A guy out of the UK does these beautiful prints of Amiga cases for the Pi. So I got his case, and man, I mean, he must have the best printer ever made, and really have his shit put together, because it looks like an injection molded piece. It's absolutely beautifully done. And like the wall thickness on it, he burned a lot of plastic. He didn't really skeletonize it or honeycomb it much. It's really nice. Anyway, that's what I've got, a super overclocked Pi with double fans and heat sink and all that, running Pi on it. Can't say enough about it.
Sounds good. Just trying to think if that's anyone I may have heard of. Yeah. Not sure.
He'll probably slide past you later today if you go out front.
Yeah,
you see a guy with a couple boxes headed to the post office that look like 3D prints, he's sliding down the road. That's him. Hey, have you guys been following the Naboo computer saga?
No.
No.
All right, so it is a cool, crazy thing. I'm going to tie it into the story that I'm going to cover now. So David Gyrich again sent in Teletext Elite, and it says another new port. and it's from a guy named Mark Moxon. I'm delighted to announce my latest release, Teletext Elite, and it's pretty much that. Wow, good looking.
It looks pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, check that out. So that reminded me of the Nabu computer, and it's just spelled Nabu. Now, I had never heard of this, and I strike some of that up to not being Canadian or even liking Canadians. It is honest. I like Canadians. I mean, not all of them. I'm sure there's some twats up there, but I definitely don't like their fascist, sadistic, totalitarian leader up there. And the way they, like hit truckers over the head with iron pipes because they dared stand up for their rights. So other than that, I like Canada. But they had this thing back in the 80s. And it was pretty innovative. It was a home computer based on the Zilog Z80. And it had no storage. Now, right? I mean, but it had a serial port. And so the thing, it basically boots up and it's just kind of like a serial terminal, but it's got a real good looking case, decent hardware specs. And somebody found, I guess, cases of these things and put them up on eBay. So people bought up a bunch of these and I came across it and it said, oh yeah, the guy's out of stock. And then somebody starts arguing with him, take off, eh? They're not out of stock. eBay's just making him ship the ones he has before he sells more. I'm like, what is this, a scam? I mean, that sounds like a scam, right? So these Canadians are arguing back and forth about whether or not this thing's real. And I'm reading this thing, and apparently it is real. I guess many of them have been delivered. So I did a search for it and saved it to see when they pop back up for sale. But it basically, its intent was it powered up, connected to a server, and apparently this thing was kind of active. So it had games, home usage stuff, kind of like a supercharged Prestel maybe thing, a little bit of CompuServe, a little bit of Genie, a little bit of Sierra Games Online. And it was darn clever, radically ahead of anything. There was like an experimental one that I think was sold in like the Chicago area only, but it was nowhere near what this thing was in the US. We had nothing approaching this thing. So it was a good looking machine. It kind of actually reminds me of that 68K Japanese computer in its fit and finish. But it would boot up, you'd see the Nabu logo, and then you would get into all your games over the serial link. So in almost no time whatsoever, I think somebody posted a video on YouTube and said, oh, I unboxed mine and I'm curious to see what people will do with this. Like a week and a half later, he posts, well, they've already done a server replica. And then a week after that, somebody posted, oh yeah, we fixed the speed thing. It now runs 10 times faster. So you launch this application on like a modern computer, and then you've got a USB to serial cable that plugs into the serial port on the Nabu. And then you can load and play all these games, all these features off of it. And some of those ports are pretty darn credible games. I would encourage you looking this up. I'm kind of looking forward to getting a hold of one of these and getting the whole Nabu setup. I mean, that sort of home, online computer experience a decade before, it was really mass publicly adopted was pretty cool. So, yeah, check out that Nabu story. That's an interesting story. I want to get one, just do it for the hardware flashback,
Yeah. So I've donned my top hat. That doesn't mean I'm top hat gaming man, but the light that I've got in the studio is very bright, so the top of my head's very bright. So I thought I'd put my hat on.
It's the first time for that.
To lessen the glare. So the next prize, if you haven't got it already, let me just whiz over here. While it's Christmas, the next prize is going to be the best Christmas ever. Look at that. You can win this very book. My book, Smoking Mirrors.
Is that the original or is that the new print?
That is the original one of a few left. So now's your chance to get a first edition, paperback edition of Smoke and Mirrors, The Rise and Fall of a Serial Entrepreneur. So listen out for that prize alarm. If you've already got the book, of course you can pick something else. But if you do want to nab the book, that would be your opportunity. And
those will be collector's items. I have both the hardback version and the softback version right here in the studio. It's really cool. It's on Amazon. It's really cool that you can get a new second edition edited, condensed, up to print. But man, just to have that original one, that's pretty cool.
It is indeed. What was I going to say? Oh, I'm glad you weren't too offensive about Canadians, because Stone Cold Allen, our first prize winner, is a Canadian. He's all the way up there in America's hat. So
that Trudeau, there's about 3 people on the planet, 4 that are really on my shit list.
5.
There's 5. You know what? You're actually right. Vladimir Putin, the twat. Trudeau, Jacinda down there in
New Zealand.
A certain Joseph Robinette Biden, and SoCal. So that's my shit list for 2022. But any and all anger directed at Canada is exclusively directed at Trudeau. Cocksucker.
Yeah. So, David Garrick also sent in the Duck Hunt C64 one. I'm scanning down. Nobody else did, but I knew we'd got it twice. Not to worry. Thank you for sending them. And if you do see anything throughout the month, send it over to news@retrogamingroundup.com. Don't sit there and think, well, nobody will have sent this one, or everybody will have sent this one. It doesn't matter. Just send it. Just send it. And David Garrick did that very thing with this one. For the second month in a row, Yuji Naka has been arrested again.
I'm starting to see a pattern emerging.
Yeah. Maybe next month we'll get another. Who knows? But yes, Yuji Naka, allegedly insider trading. He's in custody, or has been in custody once again.
What a fool. I didn't send this one in, but I thought I had. So there you go. That just proves you should always just send them in. This was an article that's coming from Eurogamer, but I think through Mike. These come in. And this was the news that Jeff Minter's making a reimagining of the unreleased 80s arcade game Aka with conjunction with Atari. They seem to have sort of kissed and made up a bit with the new guy that's running Atari after the lawyers went a bit apeshit on him for making TXK. And this looks like it's going to be pretty cool, typical Jeff Minter sort of stuff. But what I thought was really interesting, because I'd seen bits and pieces of and heard bits and pieces of the audio and seen bits and pieces of the sort of in production stuff before this. But the interesting thing is at the end of the trailer when it's got all the different platforms, and because obviously Atari are bringing this out, they're going to release it for the Atari VCS to all nobody that's going to buy it on that platform. So
maybe there's the odd person out there wishing they hadn't put Linux on it after all.
No, they're not.
Stuck a pie in there.
Yeah, I wonder if there was something about it, because.
Can you imagine if they had just made the molds, right? And put bosses in there for pies and maybe other SBCs? Because there's no reason, kind of like with the IO Shield, you couldn't have put like the same height, just the plastic bosses, to screw down the PCB so that you could use any one of the SBCs on the market, right? They would have made, I think, a far more successful product if they just made an attractive box, the joysticks, USB with that shell, and the option of having a pie in there or not, use your own, get theirs, preloaded, emulation station or not, what have you. That I think would have been a wildly successful product compared to what the hell they turned it into.
Yeah, very strange. But I think because there was all the kerfuffle when they were doing the launch videos and they were showing, software running on it, quote unquote, because they had Tempest 4000, and like Jeff was like, "Well, I've never never been talked about an Atari VCS port for that yet, and it certainly probably wouldn't run. So I don't know what they're doing, showing footage of that. But I mean, I guess they own the game, so they were it's their right to do what they want with it, I guess, and pull the wool over people's eyes. Not that anyone making a boutique small production run console would ever lie to their potential customer base.
No.
I got a doozy here from Gareth Hamer, the 5-finger handheld. And there's been a heist, boys. There's been a heist. So, according to Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, over 500,000 pounds of Evercade stock has been reportedly stolen in terrible, potentially organized attack. Man, retro handheld orders delayed after units swiped in transit. So it says here, a lorry containing over 500,000 pounds of Evercade EXP Edition Limited stock has been reported stolen. In what developer Blaze Entertainment has described as a terrible, potentially organized attack. So it says the stock took place while the theft reported as it's reported the incident took place as stock was being moved between warehouses. Nobody was injured, but all stock was taken. A separate consignment bound for customers in the mainland of Europe was unaffected. So let's see here. Yeah, it never gets into any detail. It says nobody was injured, but I mean, so was the truck hijacked? Did like 3 Albanians in hoodies and fucking tracksuits come up? You have 2 choices: get out of truck or die in truck. And then they take the fucking thing and, laugh as they go through the tunnel with their $500,000 and fucking Evercades. I don't know. That's going to turn out to either be nothing more than a stolen truck story, or dude, this could go down a weird rabbit hole. Like imagine if somebody at the company was in cahoots with I don't know, Craig Turner. Is Craig the mastermind behind all this?
You'll find out if the next year there's an Evercade Expo in Wolverhampton.
Oh, they just turned up in my yard.
Well, speaking of 5-finger handhelds, you can now join the over 2 million men around the world who trust Manscaped to keep their gentleman gardens in order. Grab yourself the gift that keeps on trimming with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, which contains, as you can see on screen there, the Lawnmower 4.0, the landmark trimmer with skin-safe technology. That's it, I said skin-safe technology. It's even waterproof, so you can use it in the shower. I'm not sure how much lag is on these images and my voice, but you will have just seen the Manscaped boxers, which are also thrown in. My favourite boxers. I've got a pair that I do really enjoy wearing. And I'm not just saying that, I actually do. And if that's not enough for you, you also get the Weed Whacker ear, nose and hair trimmer. Again, it's waterproof and it has a 9,000 RPM motor, not 7,000, not 8,000. Not even 10,000.
And not the injury causing 12,000.
No, it's a very safe 9,000 RPM motor.
It sounds like a C5 Galaxy doing a takeoff run.
And there on screen, you can see Random's nutshot.
Oh, where's that?
With his Manscaped boxers.
Man, he's in love with himself.
He is. All our listeners love technology, so get a load of this. It's wireless charging. Yep, wireless charging using electromagnetic induction. So, help yourself to reduce the risk of ingrown hairs and grooming accidents by checking out the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Get this, it comes with 20% off plus free shipping. Now, Piff Merkin joined us last month, He heard the ad and said he's on board. He's going to do it. So I bet he's away there somewhere right now as we speak, shaving his balls with the Performance Package 4.0. Using the code RG Roundup, 20% off and free shipping. So do it, not tomorrow. You can't do it yesterday. Do it today. Just get it done. I thank you.
And if you can do it yesterday, my hat's off to you.
Yeah. Wireless charging would be the least of your worries if you could do it yesterday. I'm getting hot now. I'm turning this heater off. All righty. Back to some newsing.
Wow. I just got a news that made me say, wow. So from
That's the show intro.
sent in here by Andrew Costin, I think a frequent submitter here. And he says, Link, comma, very subtle. He doesn't want to spoil the surprise. And it says Donkey Kong on Vectrex. And it is. Holy crap. And I thought, all right, what's this going to look like, right? It looks about 10 times better than I thought it was going to look like. It's pretty cool. And of course, he's doing it with the color, mod and all. So you've got a very well drawn Mario running up. The only thing that's a little soft in the presentation here, and honest to God, as I'm looking at this thing, the entire thing leaps out at you, except for the girders. I don't know. The girders are basically just simple boxes, and I think they could have been drawn with a whole lot more detail. Or maybe there's a reason they can't. Like the oil bucket is so good, it says oil on it, and it has like wonderfully animated flames. When the little things hop by it, they catch on fire. The Donkey Kongs are drawn to a stunningly high resolution. This just couldn't be better. The ladders are great. I mean, it looks 10 times better than Spike did. This is a good looking port here. I'm just really curious why the girders don't match the rest of the presentation. Like if you look at the hammers, the umbrella is drawn with a incredible fidelity, but man, not the girders. So I'm really curious. Is there like a line limitation of, number of, vector lines per scan? You don't have scan. I don't know what the limitation will be, or maybe he just hasn't drawn that yet. I don't know. But yeah, you guys take a look at this Vectrex Donkey Kong. That is definitely worth investigating and checking out. So, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So I listened this last week to the latest 10 Pence Arcade podcast, and they talk every now and then about the Vectrex. One of their listeners, I'm sure his name's Chris, but I might be wrong. He's in the UK and he does a lot of the homebrew Vectrex stuff and, the LED backlighting and what have you. And they were saying that apparently now, so, you have like your color overlay, so your games, have added color kind of thing. It's obviously a black and white vector behind, but you have color. Well, apparently now you can, using the power of LEDs, I think, and some special screen, you lay a screen over and like your color layout will change between levels. So you'll be playing a game that's one color, and then without you changing the overlay, the colors will change. So I meant to
there was a fellow next to us at one of the expos there in the UK, and he had the whole and it was a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago, but he had the whole layout with the border LEDs, and very nicely done. I'm just a Vectrex purist. I got a really nice set of replica overlays when we were at some expo somewhere. Maybe it was even CGE. And so I have a whole set of replica overlays. I've got a set of originals. And I just like my Vectrex the way Jay Smith did it. But I could almost see doing a second, like a modernized Vectrex, like just, pimp my Vectrex, and max it out. Yeah, I think that could be done.
So apparently no one wants to win Smoke and Mirrors. I did say you don't have to win Smoke and Mirrors, or maybe everyone who's in there has got one, but you can claim another prize with the phrase that pays. Glenn Minette said no one wants the prize. Any prize, you don't have to have the book. The decision is yours. So one here. I will still give the prize out if someone types the phrase that pays. From Chris. Is it Chris Lethco? And I'm going to whiz it to this screen so that I can read it. He says, this will probably be over by the time the next episode releases, but the Argy-Boy Mini has been funded on Kickstarter. The base version is $29 US and is very similar to the original, the main difference being the lack of a battery and speaker, although they can be added via soldering. The charging hardware is still on board. The lack of a case, which can be 3D printed. And the Mini also swaps out the original charging port for USB-C. And on USB-C, Apple in the EU are going to have to change their phone chargers from the Lightning connection to USB-C. It doesn't affect us, but in the EU, they're saying all Apple devices, and eventually all devices, will have to have USB-C, but it comes in, I think, sometime in 2024, but it doesn't affect the UK at the moment. So, yeah, thanks, Chris, for that. The Argy-Boy Mini is just way too small for me. Maybe Random's eyes can manage it, but even he's wearing glasses.
Well, no, I don't think it's so much the screen size; it's the controls. Like the original Argy-Boy was, it was tolerable, but you wouldn't really want to go much smaller. I'd say.
So they did.
But it's quite interesting that it's now, they've now got them so that, because it used to be that it'd hold essentially like one game, and you had to keep reloading them when you wanted to change. But now you can just have. I think they did an Argy-Boy XL, which was the original Argy-Boy, but with the memory chip on it. And they basically just bundled it with like every game that was published to date. So yeah, that would be more my size. But yeah, he said it's probably gonna be over, but it looks like it's running till the 4th of January. So you may well still be able to get in on that as you're hearing this.
Mm-hmm. Depending how slow you are at listening.
Yeah.
Here is
That's
a
your fault.
ridiculous venture, and it was submitted to us by What's on Our Shelf. Greetings, RGR. There's a niche in every niche, and this is absolutely a niche in a niche. And it's actually kind of cool. I don't even have one of these, but boy. Okay, so this is a new shell with lens and filter mounts for the original Game Boy camera device. Now, the original Game Boy camera has taken on a ridiculous life of its own. No question, right? And boy, so it says, my take on this scene is they appreciate the novelty from the quality of stock Game Boy camera photos. But I guess this is a mod for those who feel the novelty of using a Game Boy camera itself, because using this mod would improve the range of photos that can be taken with the Game Boy camera hardware. Yes, it does. So this thing, you got to see this thing. It's well worth it. It's you print this case, and it is for the 2-Bit Toy Game Boy Camera Club. And you print this case, and then all these lenses, and it gives you these adapter rings. Random, this seems like it might be your kind of thing, given that you
Or a pervert.
Or sex pest. Yes. And a camera guy.
They often go hand in hand.
Pardon the pun. And so you print a shell back, a shell front. It holds the Game Boy camera PCB and the sensor itself. There's a sensor holder, and then you have a SMM C-CS adapter. I guess that means something to camera people. A filter holder and filters, and then a shell back to tie it all together. But yes, you can put ginormous zoom lenses, you can put itty bitty lenses, all kinds of stuff on your Game Boy camera. So, sure. The Game Boy camera thing, it's just the weirdest obsession, but pretty cool.
Yeah, the someone did one, which because I think the CS stuff is CCTV camera standard, and then someone had done one at some point. We must have featured it on news where it took Canon lenses. It was very like a lot more rough and ready, rough 3D print that he'd done. But that would be more up my alley, as I've got a ton of those lenses lying around. But if you remember from that, he'd gone out with his big Canon zoom lens, and he'd been like doing motorsport photography with his Game Boy camera. Yeah, crazy bastards.
That's man. I mean, I get it. Odd hardware is definitely odd hardware, but the obsession with the Game Boy camera is it's an interesting one. Not saying good, not saying bad, just interesting choice of all the things, of all the hardware. That.
Yeah. So going back to indie retro news, this one sent in by me again. There's another homebrew by Protovision this time. It's a racer called Muddy Racer. And if you know it's kind of like Ivan Stewart's kind of game, I guess. Or if you've played the game Skid Marks on Amiga, maybe that was on consoles as well. It's kind of the same thing. Single screen racetrack. It's a dirt track and you're driving cars around it. So there is a video of it. It looks great. To see something like that on a C64, it must be pushing some serious effort through the C64, but it does look good. It's not a free download like the Santa's game was, but it's not expensive. I forget now. Digital download. Oh, they do a big box edition as well. Digital download is only $6.99 US. Have they got the box price on here? Let me go back and click on the box price. Big box edition. Let's see. Is it going to load? It is eventually. There we go. 40 euros. Why give one price in dollars and one in euros? But anyway, 40 euros for a big box edition. And it looks like it comes with some feelies of some description. You get some cards with it. Oh, it's on cartridge. Nice. And you get a manual with it, and obviously the box, and a little toy car as well. So nice, some effort gone into that, and it does look a great game. Check out the video.
Got an interesting one here. It came through a certain Mike James through InnoReader. And it says here, lost Michael Jackson's Sega Mega World game recovered from UK flea market. So, a lost Michael Jackson game built for Sega World amusement parks has been salvaged from a UK car boot sale. Jackson appeared in Sega's Scramble training, giving a voiceover to the motion simulator arcade game that was released March 1993, built on Sega's Advanced Simulator 1 pod. However, following allegations of sexual abuse, all references to Jackson were entirely removed. Boy, that's interesting. So, yeah, if you want to check out what he's doing for the kids, it's all yours.
So Peter Gibbs also sent in the Jeff Minter one, the Atari release Aka R. And then AD, is he still our community manager? I don't know. I had to post the announcement in a couple of places myself today. So I don't know. It's undecided whether he's still got the role or not. But he's in chat anyway. He sent in this video. Let's read his email.
Well, he just sent us a picture of himself having a drink with his feet up on the table, watching us. So he's indisposed at the moment.
Let's put him on screen. Enjoying a delicious beer. While we do this one, he says, I know you guys love your racing cars, and I know you also like making things. Remember that time Scott made a robot that played blackjack? Crazy times and a lot of good memories. Anyway, this guy made a full-on racing rig out of pallet wood. It probably rivals some of the projects that you guys have taken on over the years. I wonder how long it will be before Michael swaps his driving cab out for something like this. Maybe Scott could help him with the design work, and you could make it a feature on the podcast. I guess the first episode would be cutting Michael's existing rig down to a size that would fit in his recycling bin to make the space to start building this one. Anyway, enjoy. And he included his telephone number. That number is 07945 836 147. That's 836 147. So give Adi a call. Tell him we sent you.
I do know that if we hop in your car there and roll up to Cameborn, I know where we can find some pallets that we could repurpose into this racing car.
Yeah. We can rip apart some of the shitty garden furniture that he's built and use that.
I built a monster truck. I've built a Miata with a V8 in it. I've built a Subaru with a jet engine. I've built a Subaru with a V8. I've built a monsterized armored Humvee. I've built a lot of cool shit with cars. And I don't know if I've ever taken something like this on. So, Mike, as long as this is and only the pallets from 80s Garage, I can go with this. I will fly. Obtain those pallets. Maybe some of the boys from the heist can get in with you, and I will fly over there and we will build this sim rig.
Can you save me a couple, and then I can make a full Steel Battalion cockpit out of it as well.
Yeah, you should check out the video though. I did watch it. It's some little kid hacking shit up together in his back garden. I couldn't decide whether it was serious or not. Maybe you have seen his other videos. I don't know. I did flick through. It didn't look like it was a joke, but it could easily have been. I won't be replicating the exact build.
I just want to point out that Charlie, us versus them, has posted another link to a story we've already covered called Lost Arcade Footage Featuring a Child Fiddler Found.
And you're missing out not being in the stream, Scott. You've just missed a great GIF. You'll have to go back on the video and watch it. And I'm going to clear my throat.
While you do that, we've got another one in from the British IBM saying legendary rare gaming trio to make Christmas #1 song bid. He says game composers may have brought us some of the most incredible scores in the titles they work on, but they rarely, if ever, target fame in the UK top 40. However, that's exactly what 3 gaming legends are doing this month, combining their celebrated talents to release their debut Christmas single and help a video game charity in the process. This is Grant Kirkhope, David Wise, and Kevin Bayliss, or Kev Bayliss. So yeah, they are making a Christmas tune together, and as I say, it's I think it was special effect. I can't see it in the article, but I think I remember seeing it.
I did listen to it.
Special effect that they're doing.
It's a very Christmassy song. We can, if I can find it on this page, I could play a bit.
I mean, to start with, when I was like, contact at thebritishibm.com, legendary rare gaming trio to make Christmas #1 song. I thought Adi was getting involved.
Exactly the same thing. Yeah. I thought, I'm not clicking on this clickbait. But luckily, luckily it was somebody else.
I know exactly what Adi would say. It's too late, son. I've got your dollar.
Yeah. But I think you should do it. I mean, like, it seems to be, it's the easy way to make money is sell out your band is just to make Christmas songs, because, there's only a finite number of them to get played on endless loops for the entire of December. So got every chance there of getting a few royalties off some compilation albums.
This page is ad after ad, but maybe this will play now. Here we go.
I can hear it.
Well, little boy. On Grandmother
That's the Jackson link.
My bad. I'm bad.
I'm not so little anymore, but I suppose
Let's move it on a bit. There you go. It's Christmassy already.
When the snow was falling, I was just a 10-year-old, waiting patiently till morning came. It was Christmas so long ago. Always dreaming of something cool from up above. Now I'm older, how can I receive the holidays I used to love? Here
There you go. And indeed, Adi did say in chat, I've got your wedge, son. He's already counting it. Counting those pennies.
I've got his
So-
money for my for the square footage of my ass that he's paid for last month.
Yeah.
So far, the only taker.
Are we no closer to an arse tattoo?
Right. Not
What a
yet.
shame.
Come on, people, dig deep.
Yeah, well, pardon the pun. I tell you, this thing has legs. Zing.
So one
So-
hit. Go on.
Got one sent in Mike James.
Yeah.
Nintendo World opens in the US February 17th. Now, I want to see this. There's no way I'm going to rush down there in February to stand in massive lines and all, but I will be in Florida in whatever Memorial Day is in the spring. Like I think it's like the first week of June or last week of May or some shit like that. Anyway, I'll be down in Florida, so I think I will schedule a side trip to go check out Nintendo World. It's at Universal Studios, which I think is in Orlando. I've got to check this out, but I'm pretty certain I've nailed it down to at least the corner of the country. So,
I think you're wrong.
Nintendo
I
World.
think it's Hollywood. Universal
Is it?
Studios Hollywood.
let's see. But they have one in Florida, right?
Not a Nintendo one.
I mean, but they have a Universal Studios, right?
They have a Universal.
Let's see here. Oh, damn it. That's a YouTube video. Where is this thing at? I remember hearing this thing was coming, but
Yeah. Universal Studios Hollywood.
oh, fucking LA?
Yeah.
No, pass. Not even for Nintendo.
Not worth dodging
Let
the
the
human
homeless
shit on
have
the
it.
street.
No, I'm not going to LA. No, forget it. Sorry, guys. Should have built it someplace nice.
You can't even combine the trip because SoCal moved.
Right. No multi-purposing.
What's in Phoenix? Anything?
Heat.
Yeah.
Sand.
Oh, I watched a great
Sadness,
film.
Failure.
Maybe last year, I think I watched it with the guy out of Eastbound and Down. The film's called Arizona, and the subline is "The heat is on, but it's a dry heat." And it's not a bad film. He's a good actor. I can't remember his name now. Let's have a look. Eastbound and Down. And if you haven't watched the series, Eastbound and Down, there's 4 or 5 seasons of it. It's fantastic. You really need to watch it. Danny McBride is the actor. He's a washed-up baseball star who drinks too much, takes drugs, and has no filter. So it's a great show.
Sounds like it. It sounds like our cast.
Yeah. Last one came in from Charlie. Epic is turning some servers off. So some of the older games, does it say in here? I didn't have a chance to read this, only came in later on today. The following titles will have all online services disabled on January 24th. 1,000 Tiny Claws, Dance Central, oh no. Green Day Rock Band, Monsters Stole My Princess, Rock Band 1 to 3, Beatles Rock Band, Unreal Gold, several more Unreal titles. That seems to be it. Battle Breakers will shut down earlier on December 30th. So, yeah, Epic are turning shit off.
Yeah, and then curiously for a little while today, I've just checked again, it's gone now. They'd stuck Unreal Tournament 3 up on Steam for free under the guise of Unreal Tournament 3X. It says it's from Epic Games, unless it's just someone masquerading as them, because it seems weird that they've got their own store. Why they'd be necessarily putting things on Steam, but they'd put in it that there's no microtransactions, there's nothing to pay. It's free and it works. It works with all the versions on Epic and GOG in terms of multiplayer. So yeah, that was that. If that pops back up, that'll be interesting, perhaps. And I think it had all the single player campaign as well as the multiplayer in it. So yeah, that would have been a interesting little nugget to have picked up.
So in chat there, Spinal's just joined us again. He said, "How much have I missed this time?" Pretty much all of it. We're done.
Everything but the closing.
Yeah. And then someone, AD mentioned 20 questions, but I've just gone to my machine, 20 questions machine, and there's no batteries in it. And my screwdriver is hidden behind the studio wall behind me, as are the batteries. So unfortunately, we can't do 20 questions this month. It would have been nice to finish on one.
Well, Random could play the role of the 20 questions machine.
He could. Yeah. So pick something in
Imminent
chat.
success.
How would that work?
Well, you know how the 20 questions machine works?
You you think of
So
something.
first, animal, vegetable, mineral. Then it goes down from there. And you ask questions to narrow it down. And then after 20 questions, you say something pithy like, "Oh, I know what you're thinking of." And then you have to guess the thing.
What we could do, Random thinks of something but doesn't tell anyone, and listeners post in chat the questions. And
Reverse 20 questions.
Reverse 20
Turn into a lot of
questions.
questions.
Random think of something, and people in chat.
You're expecting
ask
my
the
brain to
questions.
work.
It can be anything.
All right, let's
random.
do it next news
Okay.
once we have it sorted, because I can see this going real
Okay, I'll
sideways.
tell you what.
And
I'll
not
just put
produce no
batteries in the
result.
20 questions machine next month.
All right, easier.
Yeah.
So
'Cause I think we're
Spinal
about to
says.
embark on a
Spinal says, "Happy Festivus, Mother Hubbards. Likewise, same to you. I hope everyone has a great Christmas. Go and watch 8-Bit Christmas and let us all know all of y'all's opinions on it. If you haven't seen it already, I hope you get everything you desire. But remember, it's about giving and not receiving. Just like
I believe
sex.
that was him trying to get in on the phrase that pays.
It could have been. He's too late, though. It was ages ago, that. So, yes, Happy
Even
New
no
Year
one
to
planned it
everyone
well.
as well. As I said, my oldest daughter gets married on the 29th of December. So, we've got all that fun to come in between Christmas and New Year. And we were talking about maybe going away for New Year, but we're not bothering because it will be a heavy do at the wedding. We'll have had Christmas, and I don't think I can be bothered doing New Year. But the first week of January, we're going down to Camborne to see Adi. We're going to nick all his pallet wood to make a racing rig. So I'm going down there for
check his back
4
shed
days
and
and
see if
3
he's
nights.
got any of those EverQuests.
Evergates, yeah. He's got 500,000 of them in his shed.
And a former Maplin's employee living under a blanket amongst them.
Oh,
That's what I meant to say before when Scott said, "Well, I reboot." We were talking about YouTube videos and Goober, I think. He's made a new video on the Great Bit blog. Everyone should go and check it out and post lovely comments. He reviewed the game. Is it Retro Dodo that everyone's talking about at the moment? Yes, it is.
That's a channel.
It's
isn't it?
Oh, that is a channel, but I think it's also a game. Let me do a quick search. Retro Dodo game.
Blog.
You go the Great Bit blog route.
Yeah.
I'll go the Retro Dodo. You might find it before me because it's not coming up here.
Donut Dodo.
Donut Dodo, that's the one. Yeah, it's an arcade-ish platformer. So you can check out Goobert's review of that. And we will see you in 2023, year 14. Is that right? Yes, year 14, I think, for more
Oh my God, that is true.
fun and games. Yeah.
Wow.
And if you happen to live in Poland and listen to this show, we're plotting coming over there, and a man on the ground to give us a little hand. Figuring things out wouldn't hurt. So just hit us up here at the news email, and we'd appreciate any any assistance. Not that we can't manage pissing around a random nation in Europe, but
We've done it before. We'll do
inside
it again,
poop,
damn
like-
it.
don't stay at the Premier Ski Hotel or the Norbreksky. That's a bad
Norbreksky.
place. Yeah, that's what we're trying to avoid.
And tell all your friends Manny Pacquiao's coming to town. Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas
Good
and
night.
Happy New Year to all of you. Nighty night. Say good night,
See you
everybody.
laters. Catch you in the new year, bitches.
Yeah.